Hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. Today you join me on a very wet and cold canal bank. We're in search of pike and hopefully we can put one on the bank. If you are new around here, my name's Danny and every week at 6 o'clock I put a new fishing video on the channel and have done for the past 3 years. So if you're into your fishing, well worth a subscribe. We do all types of fishing, piking, float fishing, rivers, lakes and canals. It's a bit different every week and I try and do something different on the channel every week just to keep it interesting. So if you're into your fishing and you like the videos, feel free to subscribe and drop the video a like. Conditions wise, it's not great. It hasn't stopped raining since about 12 o'clock yesterday. What it means is there's plenty of colour in the canal, but there's a difference between colour, clarity, good colour and bad colour. As you can see on screen now, it's quite a murky canal. The clarity is about half clarity, so it's good, but the colour of the canal isn't great. It's got that horrible grey tinge to it, a bit like, you know, all the oil and the salt and all the rubbish off the roads is washed in, and it means it's going to be hard today. I can see it being quite a difficult day on the bank, but if we can get one pike, it'll be a result. This is a bit different to the recent sessions where the canal has been quite clear, and there are some things I'm going to do different today which I'll go into in the video, and if we don't catch I'll still put the video up, because I think it is interesting how you can approach the same venue differently given the colour of the water. So there are a few changes that we are going to make today and I'll go through them as we go through the video. As my little girl said on a recent video, let's hope we get some pike time today. So I'll just go over the baits that I'm going to use today. Recent videos you've seen that, you know, smelt and sardine have been my go-to baits that have been catching me and Abby a few fish. Today, slightly different, going with a mackerel, herring, probably a section of herring, a tail section, probably that much of it. Save the rest for baiting up, and sardine. As you can see there, a lot of people pay a lot of emphasis on fresh bait. I don't really bother too much whether it's freezer burnt, shriveled, anything like that. Actually, the picture that I'll put on screen now is of a 19-pound pike on a day where I just chucked out any old bait and hoped the rod went when I didn't feel too well. And a 19-pound pike later changed my mind about pikes feeding forever. If they're hungry, they'll eat it. But as you can see, with them baits over smelt, there's plenty of smell, and that is what I'm basing my approach on today. I'm very simple in my approach to fishing. You know, with piking, they're either hunting by sight or smell, and I'll prey on either of them with me bait. Today, a coloured canal, plenty of colour. I'm hoping a pike is going to sniff out a bait. So they're the baits that I'm going to start on to hopefully get me a bite on what is quite a tough day. I'll also in the video in a bit just go over oils, but that'll come a bit later in the video. So the rods are out. One of the downsides of going fishing quite a lot is you get to recognise when conditions are tough and when they're good. Obviously the more sessions you do, the more you learn, and the more good days you have, you recognise good conditions, and the more bad days you have, you recognise bad ones. And I think today, given the colour of the canal, we possibly could struggle today. I hope I'm wrong, but it's just got that horrible, you know, the runoff of the road type of colour to it, which I've always found never to be good. We are in an area where we've had bites before, so hopefully there's one or two pike about. But yeah, that is one of the downsides of going fishing quite a bit. You do kind of get a good gut feeling of how the session will go. Obviously with the piking, I do get a lot of questions on different parts of it. One of them is always about oil and how and when to use it. I always use Pike Pro, always have since I started, but I don't use it all the time. If the conditions are clear, I think it's a waste of money adding smell. Then pike are hunting by sight, and on them days I'll cast as much as possible to get that bait falling through the water and try and get that pike's attention that way. today obviously there's a lot of colour, so oil is one of them things that I will put on. It adds that smell to the water, and I think them pike will be using their sense of smell as much as sight. So hopefully today we're hoping they're going to sniff out a bait, and that's when I will use the oil. I always use it on a river because obviously there's flow, and it's using it in your favour then. The scent going down the river will draw the pike in, hopefully. But on a canal and a still water, generally it's not something that I would use if it was clear. That's just my personal preference on it and how I think about it, but it is a question that I do get a lot. And today I have talked a lot about, you know, the conditions being tough, but one thing that these conditions do give you, being overcast all day, is time. Sometimes on the canal when it's clear, you get the cloud clearing in the morning, the sun coming out, and it means a lot of the sessions are quite short. With this cloud cover, what we'll get is the fact that we can fish all day with confidence. You know, the extra cloud cover keeps it dark and gloomy, and then pike will be searching out them baits all day. And there we go. It's been a couple of brews, plenty of oil in the bait, and eventually the mackerel dead bait is gone, and this lovely, very welcome pike. As you can probably hear, the rain is still coming down, and it's not stopped all morning. The rain has been persistent, and one pike today will be a result, and there it is. A lovely fish and more than welcome. Let's get this pike in the edge to rest and get it straight back. So one very welcome pike, back he goes. So no surprise there that the pike came on the mackerel. You know, nice smelly bait, and with that added oil, that pike has sniffed it out, hasn't it? So I'll be putting another one of them back out again, and hopefully there'll be one more in the area. But if I was going to put my money today on that one bait working, it would have been the mackerel. Such a smelly bait, and one that, like I say, if one of them was going to go today, I'd have put my money on that one. So on some sessions a pike like that is just a good start. On other days, you know, like today, that could be possibly the only pike we get. The conditions are not great for picking up numbers of pike, so the celebratory brew is more than welcome. You never know with piking, you know, fishing has that way of surprising you, but some days you've just got to be happy to get one. The rod's back out and sipping me brew. You know, I do apologise that there is a bit of a lack of action on this blog. It's a lot of talking and tactics, but if you look at conditions, they're not great. You know, it's absolutely bucketing down. It hasn't stopped since I've arrived. Just putting the rods back out and getting wet, so it's not great conditions for filming. I hope you do enjoy the vlogs and appreciate that it's just not always possible, you know, to put the camera behind you and record. Sometimes you've just got to get the fish in, blog them and get back under the shelter. Today is my first session out with the Lifeventure Flask. I'll put a link in the description below to the website. They asked me if I wanted to review the flask and send me one out, so I'm always up for trying products out, and if they're good I'll tell you, and if they're bad I'll also tell you on the channel. What I like about it is it's only 500ml, and we've all had them flasks that carry 2 litres of coffee and they're bulky and hard to carry, so I'm hoping when I'm walking the riverbank, when I'm barbel fishing or stick float fishing, that it'll be nice and compact to go, you know, in my net bag. I mean, the claims it makes, 6 hours hot, 12 hours cold. Well, we're 4 hours into the session now, and I've just had a brew and it was piping hot still, so that, you know, it's true to that word. Leak proof, I can vouch for that because I put it in my hold all this morning in the side pouch of my rucksack, and it hasn't leaked. Of course, all these things come with time. The first session out you wouldn't expect any of these things to go wrong, and like I say, it's a nice compact little flask. I'll put a link in the description below. These product reviews are always interesting to do, and if I can relate them back to fishing, I always, you know, say yes to them, because they add a bit to the videos, and if they're good, then us as a channel will find something good that I can share. If they're bad, I'll also say they're bad. And so far, it's a flask, and it's done its job this morning. So just a little bit on unhooking the pike. One thing I would say is always use a rubberized net. Gets you out of so much trouble, and the hooks don't get stuck in it, and if they do, you can easily untangle them. So if you put your hand underneath the gills, so you're on the bone inside the pike's mouth, and this one lightly hooked, and there we go. As soon as the pike's unhooked, get all your tackle away from the pike, and there we go. We'll get him in the edge to rest, and we'll have a vlog of him. And there we go, there's that lovely pike, coming probably 10 minutes after the move. And maybe today I've been guilty of not moving. Maybe that's been my fault today with the rain and staying in one spot. Maybe I've been guilty of being a bit lazy today. 2 pike, more than made up. The rods are back out, and what lovely colours that pike's got. Let's get it straight back, and hopefully we might pick up another one, because that's come really quickly. Let's get it straight back. So after that pike, a regatta of boats appeared along the canal and put pay to the session. But a few days later, when the water had cleared, decided to head back out again to another area and try again. Only a few hours, but it didn't take too long for the float to start moving along the canal. A few evenings later, I've nipped up for just 2 hours on the canal, and I've crossed paths with the first double of the season, and what a battle she gave me. Let's give it a good rest, and we'll get a vlog done of her. Made up, absolutely made up. The first double of the season, and the barbel have really taken my attention this year. I haven't really been 100% on the piking, but this last 2 weeks, the first frost of the day today, and an hour or 2 after work, it's paid dividends. A beautiful, beautiful pike. I'm going to keep her out too long. She's very precious on this canal. You've seen quite small pike on the blog so far. And she and them will produce the future pike for years to come. Let's get her straight back. Beautiful, beautiful pike. Made up. Absolutely buzzing. Let's get her straight back. That's the way we do it. Back they go to fight another day. She's back hunting those bream, and in February next year she'll produce them canal pike of the future, and that's how it should be done. Look after the fish and they'll be there for years to come. So this could be one of them fish that we talked about of the future, and possibly that other pike's offspring from years gone by. Just watching the floats behind me, and this pike has actually come on the wobble, not wobbling the bait in, but just leaving the bait static in the edge after wobbling for a bit. It's not something that I've covered on the channel, so if it's something that you'd like me to try and cover, then leave a comment down below if it's something you'd like to see, because it does pick up them bonus fish, and it's picked up this fish today on this session, and probably a fish that I wouldn't have normally caught, because it's come right out in front of me, under my feet, and a great method for picking up them bonus fish. Let's get this beautiful pike straight back. Right, so the session comes to an end there now. As you can see, we're a week or two further down the line, and hopefully this vlog gives you an idea of how I think about the piking. I do get lots of questions on the blog from all things to do with pike and fishing, and like with all my fishing, I keep it simple. You know, them oils are not cheap, and putting them out every time. Sometimes it's not needed. If them pike are feeding via sight and you've put the oil on, then they're not trying to sniff out a bait, they're seeing it come through the water. And on that second session where they had that better pike, the canal had cleared a lot, so that pike come on a bait with no oil on, and it just shows that, you know, it's not always needed. And hopefully this vlog gives you a little insight into the different baits and approaches that I use depending on the conditions. All that remains to say is I hope you've enjoyed this week's vlog. Tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight lines.